Hello and welcome to ET Auto. We are in conversation with Mr. Rajendra Petkar, President and CTO at Tata Motors. And we'll talk about the changing energy mix in the transportation industry. And in that, the growing prospects of LNG, flex fuel, ethanol, and the likes. So, Mr. Petkar, thank you for sparing your time. Your initial thoughts on the changing energy mix, and within that, there is the adoption of LNG, especially in commercial vehicles. So how do you see the prospects?
Yeah, so these alternate fuel actually are now sort of becoming a mainstream fuel. Here I am talking about, for example, the CNG. And the LNG is the logical extension as far as the CNG is concerned. And in this country, we started to actually adopt the CNG way back more than 2 decades back with sort of a intervention from the Honorable Supreme Court in the year 2000, where it said that the entire city fleet of Delhi should be actually run on the CNG. So the journey as far as the gaseous fuels is concerned started almost more than 2 decades back. And now as we speak today, there is also now the talk about the LNG. And the government also has announced the plan in terms of how they would like to go towards the setting up of the infrastructure as far as the LNG is concerned. So we do see a potential as far as the LNG is concerned. From the automotive perspective, it's the logical extension from CNG to LNG, except that on the vehicle, you actually store the CNG, which is in the gaseous form, into the liquid form. So with the usage of the LNG, you are able to actually increase the vehicle range. So we do see a potential. We do also see the benefit as far as the operating economics are concerned. Everything finally depends on the price of the LNG and also how fast we can have the localization and the development of the LNG tanks, which are the cryogenic tanks. And we do see a lot of investors actually showing the interest. There is already a development which is happening for the localization of the cryogenic tanks for the usage as far as the LNG vehicles are concerned. So there is a potential, but I would still say that we need to go a long way on that. We are in the early phase. There is a seeding in which has happened at the moment, let me say that way. And but there is a journey ahead. And in terms of the role of LNG as far as the net zero or the sustainability is concerned, it has its own role to play. And I think in the time to come, we will see a growth. Though I don't want to say it is going to be very exponential growth, but there is going to be steady growth and would be primarily for the vehicles which are long haul, which are for the dedicated corridor kind of the routes and for the heavy duty applications.
Could maybe even in the midterm, LNG be the next CNG?
It could become, I think, as far as the auto industry is concerned, there are already the products. In fact, Tata Motors, we showcase number of products, both on the cargo side as well as on the buses side. We did showcase the country's first, the tractor trailer on the 55-ton in the Auto Expo in Delhi. And there are vehicles which are currently running as a part of a test fleet, running on the LNG. We have the product plan, and we're actually looking at how to monetize. And therefore, we are ready, let me say. And I think, but it would go hand in hand with the development of the infrastructure and the pricing policy as far as the LNG as a fuel is concerned.
Is infrastructure a key issue for you, stopping you from, introducing them in the market?
I would say yes. One, that is the infrastructure, the challenge we have. And second one, it's a chicken and the egg situation. We are yet to come out of that virtuous cycle in terms of the demand. The demand is there on one hand, but however, the cost structure as far as the vehicle is concerned is also important. And unless you get an economy of scale, you don't get the cost down. So therefore, the investment which is supposed to be happening in the manufacturing of the cryogenic tank is something which is going at a slow pace. So, but I think let's be optimistic here because there is a policy support coming from the government of India. So maybe in the time to come, we will see that the LNG could actually compete with the CNG.
And lastly, talking about the government also made it very clear that it wants the automotive industry to move away from diesel. And commercial vehicle would be the last man standing, and very challenging, but not impossible. In that, what kind of mix do you see? What kind of energy mix do you see, or energy options playing a key role, including LNG and others, like methanol and others?
Yeah, so I think for the foreseeable future, we will continue to have the liquid fuels, be it diesel or the gasoline. Then we have this transitory fuel, what we call them as either the biofuels, ethanol, or the CNG or the LNG. And then we will have the coexistence of the zero emission technology vehicles, whether it is the hydrogen ICE engine or the fuel cell or the battery electric vehicle. So that is how we see the complete landscape coming out. But yes, I think we need to move away from the fossil fuel. But everything depends on, are you ready for the alternate fuel in totality in terms of the infrastructure and also the cost structure and the affordability, and then also in terms of readiness with the fuel like say hydrogen, for example, if we have to use. So I think we are on the journey, let me say, and but we are absolutely on the right journey. And as a country like India, we need to be exploiting all forms of the fuel options, and especially in the area of the bio, whether it's a bio CNG, it's a biodiesel, whether it's ethanol. I think it is something that we need to continue to explore and make them as a part of the fuel mix for the auto industry.
Thank you, Mr. Petkar. Pleasure talking to you as always.
Thank you very much.
On that note, you heard Mr. Petkar drawing a picture in terms of what kind of energy mix could the transportation industry see in the near future, and the opportunities as well as the hurdles in terms of their adoption. So thank you very much for watching this interview. Take care and goodbye.